What is up, everybody? Me, Roger Pony here, aka at RogerFormer on the interwebs. Now, I'm going to go through this video slow, surely, and I'm going to read out a whole article, so sorry. You can go on the bottom if you don't want to hear me read article and skip over my stuff, but I'm going to read an article that was posted on IGN. It's about Destiny. Now, according to IGN, which is sourcing Reddit, a person who played Destiny in the early stages in 2013, he was a beta tester, sort of. He went down to the studio and he played 10 hours of the game, and or he played a few hours and then he skipped over and then he went into the next 10 hours. They just kind of gave him different pieces of the game. He played the game, and the story he's telling about the actual story of the video game is very different from what the final product is. Now I'm going to read this and I'm going to talk about this for a bit, because this is something. Okay, so they're sourcing Reddit. And now, according to the user, the story experience in the retail version of Destiny isn't the same story they played during 2013. Allegedly, the original idea for Destiny was to focus around a different character, the Crow, who was introduced early on in the story in place of the Stranger. The story then takes an unexpected turn. After being abducted on Earth by Crow's group, which comprises of former Ghostless Guardians, the player learns that there's something wrong with one of the group's senior members, the Speaker. What would cause the Speaker to leave the tower and join the Crow and his band of former Guardians? Well, according to the poster, the Traveler, the person responsible for stopping the darkness, is also the cause of the darkness. In this version, the Traveler transports the darkness to Earth with him, bringing on the collapse of the Golden Age, infecting Earth's technology to a point where it nearly wipes out all of humankind. Eventually, the player ends up being sent to Venus to recover Gatekeeper's key, which is said to hold a powerful AI. Sound familiar? It should. A mission to Mars then sees the player to learn that the Cabal have been harbooning an advanced AI for their own personal gain, parentheses Rasputin, which is the AI game. And then he talks about how it takes them to a place in the moon where they're hiding some stuff. Okay, and there's proof for this. If you go into the video where they were showing off the Destiny app, you can see that a mission was talking about the Crow's people. This is really upsetting for many reasons. If you haven't played Destiny, you don't know why that article was really upsetting to a lot of people. That's not in the game whatsoever. Now, this could be totally false. This could be totally out of left field. This could totally be confirmed to be false. But I have a feeling it isn't. This might be why Destiny doesn't have a story. Now, I kind of feel like maybe Destiny is getting the scores that Activision wanted it to get. Hear me out here. I feel like Destiny was meant to have originally had that story. Activision stepped in, or maybe Bungie stepped in, I don't know. I assume Activision stepped in. They probably ripped the story from there, put in traces of that story, of the original story, kept that original story, so that when Destiny gets released and people are whining about there's no story, they can release it and say, hey, we listened to your complaints, we made a new story, and they put in the Crow's DLC, which is essentially the main campaign. Now, if this is true, there's been some leaks about names of different DLC. If this DLC is what the original game was going to be, this is extremely upsetting, and it's making me very angry. Like, this is really... I was reading this as well, I was getting actually upset. Because that story that I was reading right there, that sounds interesting. That sounds like a game that I want to play. Right there. Listen to the story. A bunch of ghostless guardians abduct you, and then they're fighting for this elusive power, and that sounds so ridiculously cool. And someone that you think the Speaker, who's a good guy, isn't really, and there's things that are changing the whole game, and there's twists, and there's turns, and things I actually care about in that one paragraph that I just read. That is what's wrong with Destiny. None of that is real. That's not a thing in Destiny. That's just not even a thing. You can't play Destiny and be like, this story is amazing, because it isn't. It's a shell of something. When I play the game, I'm playing the game right now, something's missing, I can tell. There's bits and pieces of something that really feel out of place. And they keep on saying this 10 years of DLC and expansions. I'm scared. I feel like they took to fill up the first year or so. I feel like they took the actual story and they're putting them into DLCs. Now this gets me mad. This actually gets me mad. This is something that I didn't think was gonna happen. I expected Bungie to actually be part of a company that might actually let them make the story, but this makes more sense. Like I was watching a video talking about why one of the main people behind the Halo series and the story left the company. This probably is the reason why. The guy probably made the story, wrote the story, and then was being ripped from the game. Now, this could be totally false. I've been saying this before, but if this is real, this is not good. We need to say something about this. If the DLC for the game comes out and it's Destiny, the original game, then there has to be something wrong here. DLC is going too far. This is not good. Okay, this is not good for the industry. Taking a game and ripping it up as pieces and selling it, the developer and publisher are entitled to what the hell they want to do, but we shouldn't buy this DLC. We shouldn't support this DLC. No one should support the DLC if it's like this. Now, if this is a complete rumor, if this was not working or whatever, then that's fine. But I honestly doubt that a story like this, which sounds super far along and actually sounds interesting, was just scrapped because it wasn't working. So they took away a story that was actually decent for a non-existent story at this point. It essentially just has a bunch of moon missions and moon wizards. Like, I'm just gonna say this, that if Destiny was actually the Destiny I'm reading, I just read in that article, and they just scrapped it for DLC, then I am never buying a piece of DLC from Bungie, ever. Like, that's a really crappy business move, that is trash, and that should be a free DLC. Because if you're taking parts of a game and hacking it off, and saying that this is the full game, and then hacking it off and selling bits and pieces of it online for DLC, then I don't support that practice. I don't think anyone should support this practice, and this is something that I didn't expect Activision to do. I expected maybe someone like EA to do. I didn't even expect EA to do this. I think EA is pretty good, actually. If people give EA a bad rep, I think EA is pretty good. But Activision, I did not even expect Activision to do this with Destiny. They don't do it with Call of Duty. They do it with, they're doing it apparently with freaking Destiny. So, I mean, I'm just gonna say this, that if this is true, then that's not good. This is not a good situation, and that story actually sounds interesting, and we're gonna probably see DLC coming down in the next month or two, and if that DLC is something like what we're hearing right now, then I don't think anyone should support this DLC. So what do you guys think? Am I jumping the gun? Is this article just fake? Do you think it's fake? What do you think about Destiny? Leave your comments below. Let me know. Peace in the Middle East. Follow my Tumblr. Read my Tumblr. I wrote an article about ESPN. Thanks.